This one-point hold trapping strategy is crazy. But first of all, this is how we get to it. Welcome to the Risk Forever channel, guys. The channel which shares the most relevant tips and tricks on how to win at Risk, and improve your rank in no time. Subscribe to the channel and you won't even see how fast you will become so much better at Risk. Push that notification bell to see new videos first. This is your host Champion Ever. And today we're playing another 6-player fixed card game which is being played on the classic Risk map with blizzards. I'm the the 5th player in this game. And judging by my setup, I think I have high chances of getting Africa. The pink player got a bunch of troops right here too, but I'm pretty sure she will move out to South America. South America is basically a free continent for her at this point. And I would have been very surprised if she didn't go for it, if she tried fighting it out for Africa with me. Anyway, then it looks like the black player is going for North America. Then the green player got the most of troops in Australia, so that's the obvious choice for him here. If the blue player is not a no Australia, no win player, then the best choice for him is Europe, especially considering the green and pink players already went for different continents. And then it looks like there's no continent left for the white player, though he has the most troops in North America, and since the black player technically added his troops in Asia, the white player might go for North America hoping that the black player will change his mind. It looks like the blue player isn't a no Australia, no win player, so that's lucky for the green player with him capturing Australia without putting too much thought about if he would have enough troops to properly defend the border. But that's a little bit unfortunate to me. Europe in this set of blizzards is only a 3-border continent, and from what it looks the blue player will get it soon. Well, the blue player technically is my ally, so we will probably be good with each other holding neighboring continents. But then if he just gets growing strong without doing much, then the game could potentially stalemate. But also he fortified his troops to Western Europe, so who knows, he might consider breaking through the pink player or something. And OMG guys. I cannot believe that the white player has just broken through South America. No South America, no win. Though by his Risk name I'm not surprised. Sergeant Suicide 3rd, or do you think in the white player's case it was worth it? I mean, he didn't have any good continent choice, so he would have been without any continent at all. Though whether it was a good or a bad decision, I think it will highly depend on the pink player. All I know that it was very risky. Because the pink player might not give away the continent that easily and try to retaliate. On the other hand, the pink player might consider moving out from South America to not be in the mutually assured destruction. But yeah, the pink player still added her troops in South America, so it looks like the plan isn't going to work out for the white player. And yes, especially with the pink player doing those manual rolls. It looks like those players will be in a mutually assured destruction, and at the very least one of them gets eliminated in the beginning of the game. Or most ideally even both of them, with South America being wiped out for another player, so for example me or black, or even the blue player. It's still unknown whether he will be serious continuing going for Europe or not. The question is whether I should try capturing Africa immediately now or not. I mean, my borders could be a little bit weak to guard, and we saw what happened in the pink player's case. Though in the green player's case, it ended up working out spectacularly well to him. So it's always a risk. Though the white and pink players are busy with each other, so that wouldn't be their priority to break through me. Then the blue player is technically my ally, though I know that I shouldn't trust anyone too blindly. And if the white and pink players end up crushing each other's troops in South America, then the blue player might decide to go for South America, and he would have to go through Africa. So just for that, and to end up having stronger borders, I think at the very least I will wait for another turn. And OMG guys. I cannot believe that the white player lives it up to his name and goes complete suicide on the pink player. Though he probably expected getting better blitz rolls. But poor, very poor player called Pink. She got an incredibly good setup, captured South America in turn 1, and probably thought she's having a very good game. But right here she's about to get eliminated from the game soon. At the very least the white player already took the last available place by raising the white flag, meaning that at the very least the pink player is guaranteed to get the 5th place. Also it was super unfortunate for the black player to lose even 5 troops when attacking the 4-troop army of green. The black player might have been another player to be in a good position, but right here before he trades in a set, it looks like he will be struggling. Even if he took over North America right now, he wouldn't have enough troops to properly defend his borders. But good for me, because now it's more likely for me to additionally take over South America than for the black player. Let's see whether the blue player takes over Europe, or will he wait for some more time. Ideally it would be the best for me if he took extra time, because if he takes over Europe now, and if nobody breaks through him, then obviously he will be the strongest player. Which is fine, especially taking into account that we're allies, but ideally I would like to be the strongest player in this game and take the advantage by those players wasting a bunch of troops on each other. The blue player took over it unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, because I'm about to take over Africa, and if somebody wanted to break through another player, then that would be more likely that that player would consider breaking through the blue player than me due to Europe being a much better continent. But yeah, basically I said well played to the blue player and sent him a thumbs up. Fixed cards are a lot about diplomacy, so I think it's very important to try building strong relationships with other players. Maybe I and blue will end up being in a very strong alliance. Unfortunately the only other player who had accepted my alliance request was the white player, but he's already gone, so the blue player is my one and only ally. Other players do not want to be my friends, at least officially by making an alliance. When it comes to Africa, my first thought was to guard all borders more or less equally. But then I realized that actually it would be better for me to mostly focus on the North African border, so just to make sure that I would be able to eliminate the pink player next turn, especially when the pink player additionally has a 2-troop army on Japan. So my goal is to eliminate the pink player next turn, before she got an opportunity to trade in a set and potentially make a comeback. Unfortunately she does have a set at 3 cards, and for some reason I feel like she's about to break through me. I think with me putting a larger amount of troops in North Africa has highly intimidated her. But oh well, at least she had gone all the way around and I only lost 3 troops, rather than my 9-troop army getting crushed and me becoming barely alive, which might have even led me getting eliminated from the game. Also good news is that at the same time the pink player broke through the blue player as well. This is something I like a lot, especially when the blue player showed that he will be using the European turtle strategy and intends playing passively. Though in this case the black player is even a bigger threat, to border North America is not a joke. And I mean the green player is fine with the black player holding it. Though the biggest threat for me I would say is the green player. I do not have a set, and he would have enough troops to eliminate me from the game. Last game I was eliminated in the 5th position by the European player, despite me having lots of troops as the South American player, and it was even done after I broke through the North American player which had 1 troop on the border, and then even after fortifying my whole army on Central America to prevent the North American player retaking that continent. So it was very weird to see the European player choosing to eliminate the player which put himself into a conflict with another player, and just to do it to end up in a 4-player situation as the weakest player. So it kinda makes me think I got eliminated from my name, but even if it's the case, then oh well. I understand the risk on playing on my main account without changing the name and cosmetics. And OMG guys. The pink player actually breaks through North America. Lol, so unlucky for the black player, but especially good for the green player, because right here he might even consider eliminating the blue player and me from the game with us having 4 cards each and not being that strong, so he wouldn't lose too many troops. and could eliminate even 2 opponents at once who showed that they're unlikely to go into a conflict with each other. Phew, he skipped through my 3-troop army, but it looks like the blue is about to get eliminated from the game. And what? He only broke through the blue player and stopped. Now the blue player will hate the green player for the rest of the game. And differently than before, the blue player is strong now, and if he actually ends up holding Europe, then the green player could be the one who eventually gets eliminated from the game. So I think that's a big misplay for the green player to not eliminating the blue player from the game, if not wanting to try have eliminated blue and me in the same turn. I mean, the pink player had created a perfect opportunity by breaking through the black player's border, for the green player to take the advantage to his hand and might even win the entire game. But don't get me wrong, I'm so glad the green player didn't go for me, and right here I have the ability to make a comeback. And the blue player is about to be a very good ally of mine. He hates the green and pink players, and the black player is kinda neutral. So if I end up in a 3-player situation with the blue player, then I think my odds to win this game are very high. Right here I will help out the blue player by leaving one of my armies in Middle East, so to protect the other 2 borders of the blue player he isn't guarding. I think it will really make the blue player to admire and appreciate me. Also, back then when the pink player broke through both of us, I sent the angry face emoji. That isn't something I would typically do because it could encourage that player to break through you even more, but by seeing that the blue player sent it by himself, I did so to more appeal to the blue player the empathy-wise. Diplomacy is another part of the game. And all other players didn't even bother to accept my alliance request, so it's basically mission impossible to create strong relationships with them. Well, not so long ago the black player decided to accept my alliance request. But it looks like he only did that because he ended up losing his strong position. I think the things could change quickly if he suddenly gets to be in a strong position again, so right now I consider him being just more of a neutral player who I wouldn't be surprised consider backstabbing me if I get in a weaker position. I'm not saying he will, but I wouldn't be surprised. He probably only accepted my alliance request because it was very necessary for him. Right here he would be so weak to protect both of his borders properly. The pink player finally raises the white flag and takes the last available place, which in this case is the 5th place. And right here with the green player crushing the 2-troop army of the white bot, I think I will eliminate both of those bots, pink and white, from the game. I think it's especially important for me to eliminate the pink bot because it would lead me of taking over South America, but then just leave the white bot with a 3-troop army and 2 cards, wouldn't make much sense. And basically it's my best shot to increase my advantage. Because otherwise the black player might try eliminating the pink player by himself, will trade in a set and take over South America. So in that case, if I wouldn't want to go in a war with the black player, I would just be with Africa alone and end up being one of the weaker players. While right here I get to take over South America before the black player has even taken over North America and received additional troops for holding it. Right here the blue player sends me a thumbs up, says well played, and then sends a heart, which is a very good sign for me. I'm not only trying to create a strong relationship with him myself, but he does that himself as well. And I think this is what's very important. Because otherwise if the relationship seems to be very one-sided, then it might not end up working very well. While right here, that's a high chance I've got the blue player's trust, which could lead us a being in a very strong and mutually beneficial alliance, or even me being able to manipulate the blue player into my own victory, or even in the other way around of the blue player taking the advantage of me. But either way, it's still better than to stay in the game with cold players who are mostly only concerned about themselves for the most part, self-centered in other words. Right here I'm telling the black player to attack my territory if he needs to, so to strengthen the relationship with him in case I leave him alive, but I don't really think I will. And the black player actually kinda felt for the trap by recapturing North America, because right here he unleashed my South American army, and along with trading an asset I could use it to eliminate him from the game. The black player decided to show me a strong sign of trust by moving out from my border, but honestly I don't think he's really needed in the game, and if I want to eliminate him from the game, then it would be the best to do it right now to minimize the troop loss. And I mean, the blue player trusts me, while possibly still holds grudges against the green player. Then the green player probably likes the black player in this situation quite more than me or the blue player, since it should be very obvious that me and blue are in a very strong alliance. The black player himself is probably fine with being in any alliance he can get, since he's barely surviving. So taking into account all those relationships on the board, I think it becomes pretty obvious that I would prioritize ending up in a 3-player endgame with the blue and green players. And there's just no reason for me to leave the black player alive and let him make a comeback, especially when I can eliminate him from the game with a very minimum troop loss. So I'm definitely going to do it. Though a possible downside is that the blue player could decide to betray me, seeing that I will have taken over even 3 continents. Though even if that's the case, we would still stay in a relatively good relationship, so unless the blue player would just decide to suicide on me. But that could be possible, that the blue player would just be fine with me holding those continents, which could lead me into a very easy victory. But all in all, I think the most possible outcome is that the green player breaks through my continents and the blue player gets to stay in as strong alliance as we were before, especially since it's going to be the green player's turn first after mine. I think that's so likely for the green player to be wanting to break through my continents, so I'm not even going to guard them. Otherwise, if I just leave some army on Kamchatka, then those troops would likely get crushed, and then I guess the blue player would end up being in the best position on the board. So it's just better to go with the flow and let the green player break through my continents, especially since then the blue player would absolutely stay being on my side, and especially if the green player ends up breaking through the blue player as well. I won't even risk leaving some troops on the South American or African borders either. In fact, it's even probably the best for me that the green player goes to break through those continents, so as long as he breaks through the blue player as well. This is what I'm waiting for. Because he would basically make himself as a common enemy for me and the blue player. And this is what he just did. Lol guys. That is so much damn nice. Please green, fortify your troops to Australia and be blocked. Yes, let's go. Hopefully the blue player doesn't have a set. And if he doesn't, then I hope he attacked a bunch of territories of the green player, because then I might even consider eliminating the blue player from the game while the green player would be in Australia having his troops locked. But I think that's not enough. The blue player only recaptured Europe. And while I have a 10 troop set, at 3 cards, and would trade in another one after eliminating blue. Considering that the green player has 5 cards while the blue player is still at a significant amount of troops, I think the green player would win the game over me if I eliminated the blue player. Maybe unless if I got super lucky attacker's advantage, but I think still. Right here I don't think it would be a smart idea to just recapture South America and Africa and continue being a shield for the blue player. Let's actually stop providing that service. I want that the green player would have a good accessibility to break through the green player whenever he wants to, so for that reason I'll take over North America instead. I could technically recapture all 3 continents, but that could give the blue player a reason to betray me. Or if I take over South America too, then it would decrease the probability of the green player breaking through blue. So I think the most optimal play for me is to take over North America alone, which actually only has 2 borders in this game, which makes it be kinda OP. But then, and if I get stronger, I'll definitely consider expanding to South America too. For now it would be better if green and blue were focused on each other before I give them a final blow. And so far that plan is working. The green player broke through blue. Let's see if the blue player does something to the green player too. Hopefully the blue player doesn't take over Africa, as then there would be no way I could grow stronger than blue. I would just balanced him out additionally with South America. Also why it was also good for me to take over North America instead of recapturing South America with Africa, is because at the same time I ended up capturing a lot of extra territories which let me receive extra troops each turn. So even though at first sight I and blue have the same value continents, actually I'm in a much better position, even if we disregard that I have to guard one border fewer. Right here I'm not in a rush to take over South America, I'll just let the green player to break through Europe once again. Holding South America would only give me +2 extra troops, while the green player breaking through blue would not only prevent the blue player from receiving +5 troops, but also the green player would crush 9 troops of the blue player while losing some himself also. That's freaking nice. Also the green player moves out from Australia, meaning that that's very likely for the blue player to take over it now, so the blue player will finally end up wasting some troops on the green player as well. The only worry right now is that the green player could decide to break through my Asian border if he has a set at 4 cards. Though it's my turn before his one, so it's up to me to decide first of all on what do I do with the situation on the board. If the blue player ends up blocking his troops, then I might even consider eliminating the green player from the game. I think if the blue player fortifies his 13 troops to Australia, then I'm definitely eliminating the green player. But if he leaves them in Europe, then I'm not so sure. But I've really got to think about it because I wouldn't like to miss the opportunity to win. I'm very tempted eliminating the green player, but I wouldn't have a 100% blitz. I mean I know that I could just obviously use both of my armies to eliminate the green player from the game, but if one of them doesn't go that well, then I think even with me eliminating the green player, the blue player would win the game. So I didn't want to risk it, and right now I hope that the blue player will fortify his 13-troop army into Australia. The green player luckily didn't have a set at 4 cards, so right here it's still a decent chance for me to win. Unfortunately the green player realizes how close the game is close towards being given away to me and decides to focus on targeting my territories instead of going after the blue player. And honestly I don't think the blue player will continue targeting green either. Before capturing Australia, the blue player attacked some territories of mine, so I'm pretty sure he understands that a huge advantage is being given away to me. But all in all I just hope that he fortifies his European troops into Australia. Then that would basically be a guarantee for me to win. And OMG guys. I cannot believe he just actually did it. Well, he's such a sweet and nice ally. He still continued targeting green and even broke through Africa despite seeing how much strong I'm becoming. But this is why diplomacy matters a lot guys. I tried being a nice ally to the blue player throughout the whole game and it really paid off for sure. But let's go champions. Let's freaking eliminate the green player. And then I see I could use the 4 continents endgame strategy on the blue Australian player by taking over both of the Americas, Africa and Europe, and only having 3 borders to guard, which would be Ukraine, Middle East and Kamchatka. But honestly why would I do it while I see a much better pattern of what I could do? I can just simply take over whole world but Australia and Siam, and then just fortify my biggest army to China. And voila, I will have an insane 1 border hold to guard all of those continents and the blue player won't be able to do anything about that. LOL guys. What will you say in response blue? Nothing you can do about that for sure. Blue, it's true, you can be trapped with my rap. Look at your shoe before you'll say moo. But now let me activate my trap card and finish taking you out from the game. You were a nice ally and will always be remembered in our hearts. And guys, remember that blue will never give you up, will never let you down, he will never run around and desert you. GG's. Well played.